Welcome to Ladies in Production podcast, where we talk about animation and VFX production through the female lens.
Hey everyone, welcome to LIPP. We are going back in time and pulling an old episode out of our vault from back in early 2021 during the pandemic. Hope you enjoy it.
Hi, this is Peggy. You don't know me.
There you go.
But I've been invited.
There you go.
Our esteemed guest.
That was really cute.
Oh, it's been a while. We are in a crazy post-vaccinated world. We're just told not to wear masks, but then all the Yankees got COVID, so gonna see what happens there. I have a bunch of lovely ladies here. Krystal, all the way from New Zealand.
Hello.
Becca, all the way from Burbank.
All the way. So far.
Ray in West LA. And we have...
Oh, wait, can I just tell you, I'm coming out of my dad's office right next door to where my mom is.
So we have a very special guest. We have a LIPP mom, Peggy.
Hello.
Super mom Peggy, who is the original lady in production.
Mm-hmm.
Because
A dinosaur, yes.
No, a pioneer.
Yes.
Okay.
Peggy has been in the animation industry for quite a while. And actually, Peggy, you are our first ever interview.
Oh,
Yay.
I'm honored. Thank you.
We wanted our first interview to be somebody special. And so you are definitely somebody special. We are going to link your demo reel in the Instagram because it's so amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And it's things that I feel like I saw growing up, because you were an animator in around what time were you? Actually, why don't you describe what you did? And then we can go into more depth of how you got there.
Oh, okay. I worked in mostly commercial animation. I worked for mostly two places. One place is Duck Soup. They did a lot of cereal commercials like Toucan Sam, Tony the Tiger, and then I worked for another place called Kurtz and Friends, and he did back in the 70s and 80s he did the Chevron commercials with the that was his most famous commercials, the dinosaur turning into the oil. And actually he had an exhibit over at the Natural History Museum that showed the process of animation.
Wow.
So, yeah.
When was
that? That was oops.
Kitty.
There's a cat butt.
Yeah. Let's see. That was in like the 80s. I think we went there with you guys when you were little. But they showed the process of animation. And
That was
particularly
pre-Aardman. That was pre-Aardman ads.
Pre-Aardman.
I remember the Aardman ads too.
Aardman did a series of ads for Chevron.
Chevron with
Oh.
Techron or something.
Yeah,
Oh.
Chevron with Techron
Oh,
with
is
the
that those
claymation cars.
claymation?
Yeah, it's like the talking cars.
Oh, yes.
Stop
Yes. It was
motion.
before then. Yeah, that was Park. Wasn't that, I forget what his name is. The guy who does Wallace and Gromit. Or maybe
Yes.
not.
Yeah,
Aardman.
Aardman.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought his name was Nick Park. But
He's
but
the
anyway.
director. He's the director of those Wallace and Gromit movies, right? Nick Park?
I think so.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. So yeah, it was before then.
So can you describe, because we are all working computers,
Yes.
and since you were working in the 80s and 90s while raising a family, can you describe what you did? And again, we'll link the reel, but can you, were you in front of a drawing pad? Can you describe?
Yeah. Well, most animation desks back then, it was a desk with a disc on it, and we had a light box underneath. So it was mostly paper and pencil, basically, and a pencil sharpener. And and the whole process was the same as now, where you have an animator who does all the extremes. Yeah, the extremes. And I started off as doing cleanup. So I did cleanup, and then, but luckily being in commercials, I was able to skip a couple of steps. So I was able to actually do some in-betweening, and then shot up to doing some animation. So
Wait, in betweening is like the cleanup, you mean?
It's
No,
the frames in
there's-
between the keyframes.
yes,
Oh,
keyframes. Yeah, a lot of terms I never use. Yes. So
okay.
I would follow another animator, and then I got to the point where I was a key animator.
Amazing.
Yeah, but yeah.
I actually worked with Duck Soup at a certain point. We hired
Oh.
Duck Soup to do some animation for WB Kids. This was in the early aughts. Yeah.
The frog?
Well, the frog was one of the mascots.
Uh-huh.
But at this point, I don't think the frog was in it because it was for kids. So I think they had gotten rid of the frog at that point.
Mm.
But I'm curious, when you got a job assignment, Peggy, like, let's say you're doing, like, I saw some commercials that looked a lot like Garfield cartoons on your reel, and I'm saying that very badly. But there was a certain style.
Oh, you know, there's that particular style was Bob Kurt's style. He has a specific style, and he had his designers, and so his designers did all the layouts, which, you know, are the things that the animators use to base the animation from. That included the backgrounds and everything.
So it's kind of like if you had a director with the commercial, they would get somebody to do the storyboard layout first. That's like the first.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
So like, and okay, Bob Kurtz, who's a really great animator and a very great director, he sometimes would design his own commercials, and also use Robert Palouse, and Bill Davis was another one. And so they would take the ad agencies
Story
boards, and they would make the layouts. Then it was sent over to then Bob would direct them. Then we would come in after those layouts were done, which the layouts at that needed to be approved by the agency. And then we would come in, and he would take us through the direction. And it's so great. Back then, Bob would have his a stopwatch, and he would time with us as we listened to the recording on a little tape recorder of the track. And and he would act it out, and we would ask questions back and forth, and everything was pinned up on a bulletin board behind it, you know, and he would point at it as the track is going, and then we would get a section. So I wouldn't do the whole commercial. There would be like 3 animators who would split the commercial up, and we would do all the in-betweening, cleaning up and everything at that point when I was animating. Wow. So it was a real group. All those commercials you saw, there were at least 2 other animators working on it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Were they, can I ask?
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Were they usually male animators that you're working with, or female? Like, what was that breakdown back in the 80s?
Yeah, oddly enough, Bob and Duck Soup, at Duck Soup, the main director there had his own cronies that used to work with him from UPA, which was a big animation studio in New York. But Bob and Roger Chenard would, use the local people around. I felt when I was working at Krystal Friends, it was me and Pam Cook and Gary Mooney. We were the 3 animators. So there were times it was just me and Pam. So it would be an all-woman team.
Oh, great.
But we just thought it was, hey, look at this, an all-woman team. But I'm sure at Disney and a lot of the bigger places, it was more male-dominated, you know. And
like those 8 angry men. Oh wait, the 8 old men, the 9 old men.
yeah.
8 angry men.
Exactly. Yeah, they were probably angry too. But you know, as time went on, late '80s, there were a lot of women animators. You know, a lot
interesting.
and more.
Yeah, lots of cleanup artists, right? Like
Yeah, a lot of cleanup artists, a lot of assistants, a lot of ink and paint.
Were any of them able to kind of move up like how you were able to move up to be like the key animator, or were they mainly in like the supporting roles? You know, like did any of them become directors?
Not that I know of. I really didn't. I was not a social person, so I just did my work. So I was lucky enough to direct, you know, some Polly Pockets commercials and a few different things. Yeah, and
that's so cool.
But
I love
you know,
Polly Pockets.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
And we got to have all the toys in advance for her to like look at, and
yeah.
How did you get the directing job for Polly Pockets?
I just happened to be there long enough, and you know, at that time, Duck Soup was getting a lot of work, and they just asked, "Hey, would you like to direct?" Oh, I know. Yeah, I think Roger Chenard.
He owns and was like the primary person at Duck Soup, Roger.
Yeah, and he had an overflow of work. So, you know, at that time, Duck Soup was getting a lot of work. So they offered me, and I went, yeah, sure, I could do that. So
amazing. You know, I remember watching, you know, those old Snoopy specials like Race for Your Life, and like Krystal was saying, there were a lot of women in the credits, but they were all cleanup artists. It wasn't as much, you know, people who were directing or doing the keyframe. So it was really cool that you were able to move up and do all those things.
I never thought one thing or another. I just thought, hey, the money's great, you know, and
go ahead. I was going to ask if you were ambitious.
I was until I had kids. I mean,
sorry, Mom.
I you know what? When I was in college, I just I did this. I did like 3 films, you know, for film school. And
really? Do you still have them?
I have them, yes. But my I'll tell you.
We would love to see them if you find them.
Oh yeah,
I might have sent you one of them, Urashima Taro, which was
that was my thesis film. It was a Japanese folktale, and so that was the one where I did. You know, it took me years to get it done, and
the characters look like my dad.
And I never met him at that time. So this was before I met Rob. So this was
gosh.
So, and the 2 kids look like my boys, which is really funny. But when I first met my husband, I was telling him, I just finished my film. You know, I got distributors and I made a
distributors?
Well, yeah, you know, there's places like Pyramid Films, and you would just take them different places to have them distributed because there was no videos.
Was it it wasn't on tape, it was on film?
Film reels.
Film reels.
And so basically it was a folktale, and I thought, you know, maybe you can sell this, you know, in the school systems. And so, you know, all the school systems have their audio visuals and, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, so I thought, you know, hey, I like making these. It was a lot of great research, and, you know, doing folktales was just so great. And so I remember talking to my husband the first time ever over the phone, and he asked me what my aspirations were. And I said, you know, I'd love to make folk tales. You know, it's just so interesting, just of all the different cultures, you know, teaching culture and history and all of this. And he says, there's no money in that. Why do you want to do that? And I went, what?
There is that one really famous female
Shelley Duvall.
No.
Oh.
No, I remember.
Well, I know who Shelley Duvall, the actress.
Yeah,
Well,
she did.
But I'm thinking about, and Krystal, you might know this woman's name, but she made a whole lot of folk tales, and it was all done in silhouettes.
Oh, Annie, is that?
I don't remember the name.
Oh, Peggy, you would know then.
It was a long time ago. It's
yes, like in the 30s or 40s.
It was like Annie Reinecker, or it was a
something like that. That sounds from like
it was an exhibit at the Broad with some stuff, I believe.
And I still look at those films for inspiration.
Yes.
And they were made in the 30s and 40s or something.
Yeah. They're really great. And I there's just so much you can learn from folktales. But anyway.
About the culture, about how people see women and men.
And values and everything. So, but that one married him.
Wait.
Had to make money. Had to marry the guy.
Ended up in commercials.
Yeah.
That crushed your spirit?
He crushed my spirit. Yeah.
Practical. I'm curious how you got the job at Duck Soup. Like, did you have a portfolio at that point, or?
Oh yeah. Let's see. Well, I went to college, and luckily out of college, I met some friends who had graduated from UCLA. I went for my MFA, so I met them there, and they had opened up.
What was your major?
My BA was in design, and my MFA was in motion picture television / animation.
Did you go into college as a design major?
Oh,
UCLA?
I did. Well, I did because that was all I can do. I was a C student, and actually, what I'm doing my whole career is basically what I did in high school, which was I ran for commissioner of publicity, which means I was the head of the group who would make banners and posters for football games, dances, and whatever. And so I would have all these people, oh, you can do this poster, and you 3 guys do this banner and whatever.
It was probably really fun, right?
It was great bossing people around. And and so that's really the only thing that was my strength, is just art. I didn't think I could do anything else. So I figured I'll go into college. Maybe I'll become a teacher because, hey, I have to be smarter than elementary school kids. And then I can do bulletin boards. That was the thing. Great bulletin boards. But then I was figuring I was going to be a teacher, but my GPA was low. I couldn't even pass the basic college arithmetic class. And so then I found, looking through the catalog, animation. Wow. Hey, I can take animation as as some extracurricular classes.
Were you an animation fan at that point? Like, were you watching Disney movies or?
Yeah, I mean, Bugs Bunny cartoons. I was never a fan, or I still don't go out to see animation movies or anything.
So wild to me.
By the way, that woman's name is Lottie Reiniger. I just looked it up.
Oh, Lottie. Yes. Oh, good. So I found out that I can get A's in animation, and
that's a left brain, right? Left brain, correct?
I think so. Yeah, because I did really bad in everything else, but I was able to graduate, with the animation, and then I had no portfolio since I was a design major, and I was kind of a year younger than everybody else, and so my brain, I didn't understand half the assignments in design classes.
That's how I was going through school too.
Oh gosh, it's just so horrible. You feel so stupid. But so I figured, well, no one's going to hire me as a designer because I know nothing about it.
Oh, come on.
Well, at that time, I really had poor self-esteem back then, and no boyfriends.
Were your parents expecting you to have a career or to get married at this point?
Well, my mom wanted to make sure that we could get a college degree and get a job, because what basically happened in our lives as children, oh my cat, Oh, just to get a job, because she was left. I mean, my dad had to go into the hospital, and she realized she had no skills. So she thought if we went to college, we would get some kind of skill, something to fall back on.
Mhm.
So they didn't care what we did. They didn't care about our grades or whatever, you know, and whatever it took. And I think they were particularly worried about me because I was kind of a shrinking violet, you know. I just, you know, kind of doing whatever I want to do. I was.
You're like
And
the runt of the family.
Did you have a lot of other siblings?
I have an older sister who is an extremely talented artist.
Oh,
But
I
she
hate
wanted
her.
to be. Yeah, I know.
Her eye for
And she
color
takes
is
it-
amazing.
And she takes it for granted, but she just wanted to be a mom, you know, and she would be a pioneer. I mean, she was a working woman. She was the Mary Tyler Moore, but you know, she had no boyfriend, and you know, she had the.
Did you
the
watch
same-
that show growing up?
Oh yeah.
I
you
just
know.
started watching it. I love it.
Yeah. So she's no, she was the most talented one. And oh no. Thank you, Rob. Oh no.
It's okay.
Okay. Well, I lost you guys, but
Okay.
and I
Here, I'll
don't
come
even
in. I'll
see
come
you.
in.
Okay. So anyway,
You had the older sister who was talented.
oh yeah, and then my brother was an architect. Oh, thank you.
Oh, they're all artists.
Sort of, yeah. My dad was really talented, but you know, during the days of concentration camps and all that stuff, he missed some opportunities.
Was your
and
dad
also,
in Manzanar?
He was at Gila Bend, and
Oh
that was
gosh.
another camp in Arizona. But all of the Japanese parents were, you know, first generation or second generation parents were.
Did he ever
They get
talk about it?
reparations?
Pardon me?
They did get reparations and they
Oh,
did
yeah.
talk about it. I actually remember was it middle school or elementary school? I
I
remember
think it was, yeah.
my grandma had told me stories about life on the camp and like just the
gosh.
lighter side of things, because that's where they met, you know, and they were kind of like the major downside was both of them were around college age. Like I think wasn't grandma about to go to fashion design school?
No, she went to fashion design school. She was in her 20s. So like 18, 19, she went to, there was a school in Los Angeles called Wolf Fashions or whatever it is, design school. My dad was really talented. There's a school, Manual Arts High, and they taught a lot of manual arts, a lot of art classes. My dad was in lettering. They taught life drawing, all sorts of different
Wow.
things, you know. So that was a great story. My dad was approached by Disney people to recruit him before the war. And they kept pursuing him, but my dad is like, no, I got to help my family and their family market business, you know. And so he wasn't quite brave enough to do something that's, you know, make a livelihood in art. So he just said no.
Is this the late 30s, early 40s?
Yeah. Right. Yes,
Right before
exactly.
the war. Yeah.
Right before the war. And then after the war, nobody was interested. You know, he had said he'd made a portfolio with a lot of funny cartoons, and he went to a lot of different magazines, and you know, basically was rejected. So, but he was such a great artist. He was.
Wow, it runs in the family, it seems
I
like.
think so. Yeah. So then I have a younger sister who's the brains of the family, and she's a pharmacist.
Oh, okay. She's probably like feels left out.
She
From
could
being an
be,
artist.
though.
Yeah,
She could. Remember one time we were playing that game where you all have index cards with like a phrase on it. It's like a pictured telephone.
Yeah.
And I remember she just did little drawings, and they were
She's good.
so good. I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
Auntie Betty can draw too?
No, she can draw. She can do
And
anything.
her two sons are artists.
Oh,
That's
cool.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question about some of the technical stuff.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you go ahead and ask questions too, Krystal. Well, I'll ask my question first. So when you did, when you got the storyboards and you're doing the in-betweens or you're doing the keyframes, how did you test them out? Was it because I've seen the things where they go back and forth with the tissue paper, or did you have to shoot?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how did you do that?
Okay. When I first started, they didn't have video machines, so we would do our animation, flipping it, so we're seeing the actual movement of the draw between each of the drawings. And then once we have it at a point where we want it tested, so basically you don't make a ton of mistakes. You make all your mistakes at the desk. You get it in some sort of form and you send it off to a camera service. They will shoot our paper drawings and come back with, it's called a pencil test. And so we would have to wait. So it would have to go from our hands to the camera guy. The camera service would then send it have it developed, and it would come back to us as a pencil test. And we would sit on a moviola.
Oh gosh.
And watch it.
So were they shooting it on like Super 8 or something? Like how were they?
No, they were great camera cranes. They would have a 16 millimeter.
Oh, like on a camera table or
35 millimeter camera above. They would shoot on a platen, I guess, with the light box underneath and lights to the side. And they would take each page, let's see, sometimes we'd have multiple layers because we'd have to show, Tony and Tiger with a bowl of cereal with whatever, or if there's a couple of characters. So they would have to light it so all the, you can see through all the layers of paper. And then a glass platen would come down, crush them all together, and they would shoot 2 frames. Then they take it off, separate all the drawings, and put the next set of drawings on. And that's basically how they did that.
And you always shot on 2s?
Depending. Sometimes we'd have to shoot on 1s. When there was panning, when everything was just very mechanical.
Was that how many frames per second was that? Like when you were
24.
shooting?
Oh, wait.
Wow.
24 frames per second, yes. So a lot of drawings.
Actually, can you explain to our audience what shooting on 1s and shooting on 2s means?
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, there's 24 frames in a second. And when you shoot on 1s, that means 1 frame for 1 set of drawings. When you shoot on 2s, that's 2 frames for each drawing. So if you look at the film going through the camera gate, or when it's on, you'll see 2 drawings flashing by.
So it makes it longer, kind of? It's like 2 frames instead of 1?
1 frames, it would be very fluid. That's like, okay, you would have to do 12 drawings
per second.
24 drawings per second. When you draw on 2s, you draw 12 frames.
Oh, okay, got
That's
it.
what most anime, isn't most anime 12 or 8 frames a second even?
It's on 3s on anime. That's why anime looks so
jerky.
Choppy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, I remember at Duck Soup, there was a room where there was a light box where we could shoot. And you let us even use that.
Light table or camera?
Yeah, we had a light table.
Camera room?
Yeah, it was a camera room, but we were able to use a video system. And the first one that came out was the Lion Lamb, and it was like reel to reel, and it was set up with a little special box that would expose the video, 1 frame, 2 frames at a time. And so that's when things started getting really fast.
That's what I used in college.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And you were able to get it instantaneously after you shot it, you could see it right away. But that's where I became the fast animator, because I could draw really scratchy drawings, but you can see the movement, what's going to happen. So before a lot of people really want to make a perfect head and whatever, so you can see, how it's moving, or a perfect drawing. But I felt the timing is more important than each drawing. And
I agree.
So
I agree. Actually, have you seen the one Studio Ghibli movie, The Princess
Kaguya, yeah.
Kaguya?
no, I don't.
You must.
Oh,
Is it great?
It's kind of like what you're describing, your style, which is more about the movement than the perfection of the form.
It's the Moon Princess and the Bamboo Cutter story.
Oh, I love that story. Yeah. Oh, did they have a lot of that? Aha. Do you remember? Have you ever seen that video?
Yes.
Is it that sort of a thing where it's, yeah. And those were rotoscopes, huh?
Take on Me.
Yes.
So when you saw that, were you like, oh, they're just tracing?
I thought, hey, that's a real great way of using. But, hey, someone's got to do it. I just thought it was design. I thought that's really fun and great. But yeah, and Duck Soup used to do a lot of those. And Duck Soup also did when Roger Rabbit came out. Ooh. And you had that 3D kind of looking animation, but with the flat animation with ink and paint.
Kind of lighting.
Yeah. And there was a lot of visual effects, but it's all in camera. There were no computers at the times, or no computers that were available for us at the time.
I remember when that movie came out. Oh my gosh, it was huge.
Is the best.
I know, yeah.
Huge. Just
I have a technical question in that, you were saying like the technology had improved so that you could see your animation on the lunch boxes,
right.
And see it like pretty quickly whether or not it's going to work, and you can keep doing tests and iterate, right? Whereas before you could probably only iterate a few times, and because of the pressure and the time. But now when we're in 3D, we have an infinite amount of iterations that we can do. And I think personally, I think it stifles the creativity.
Yeah.
You have to basically, you can change your mind up until the last second. What do you think about all this? And do you feel like it's changed in a positive way or a terrible way?
It's a really good question.
And also, she's working in digital animation right now.
Oh, I'm working on Toon Boom, but the old-fashioned animation way, I'm not quite sure how to do all the rigging and all of that. I think it allows the director to change their mind. In other words, the director does not have to have a visual. You have to show them it. And I think it's kind of hinders. The directors do not have to be as good. You want to have the visual ones who have something in mind and could direct you. This is what I want, rather than something's not right about this. Show me something different. That's the big difference.
I love that you're saying that, like, the director doesn't have to be as good.
I believe
it's
that.
So true. It's so true.
I mean, Bob Kirsch was such a great director. He'd say, okay, you're going in the right direction, but make it funnier. And it's like, what does
that mean?
We have to figure it out.
Usually when people in my industry, when they say make it funnier, that means overshoot. Overshoot the animation so it feels like it's bouncing or whatever.
Yeah, and that's basically, he wants you to go beyond what you have there, and you have to figure it out, and when you hit it really, you're so happy because it's like, it's a personality thing that you need to shoot into it. And but I think as far as having to change it so many times, that's when a director really doesn't know what they want, and or is not able to communicate what they want. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, I think industry-wise, that's what makes not just the director, but everyone not have to be as good, because like I don't have to be an expert draftsman. All of a sudden, I can iterate and Control Z all I want and use symmetry, and you lose a lot of that artistic, like what you're saying, the pushing the rough sketch style, and spontaneity of it, and like actually inserting the artistic part. It's become kind of a technical exercise, almost like a car assembly line. It seems like there's a handful of artists pushing the medium, and the rest are technical artists
who are kind of more traditional artists, right? The ones who are pushing it.
Well, there are people who are exploring things outside of just
outside the box.
Yeah, they're pushing it, and they're actually thinking about, what does this actually feel or look like, instead of how do I make this literal thing.
But you do need the technical people. They're the ones who know how to get it there,
assemble it.
And then you have the creative people who try to push the envelope, push it, make it a little bit bigger or better or whatever. So.
Is there anything that you see now that there's like positive side of technology being in this industry? I know that you're still more in the practical space, it sounds like, but is there anything that you feel like technology has actually helped your profession over time?
Well, I think what helps me is it's just more immediate. I can test something out. If I'm really stuck, I can test it whatever way I want, and I can find the way. But the best way I've found at doing this for a long time is that if I'm able to get a project, and if I have a little problem, before I used to sit there and draw at my desk, tons of papers right in front of me, just wasted drawing. What I'll do is I'll go out, fold some laundry, think about and try to visualize. And my one director said, that sounds like the Zen of Animation, where I visualize what I want. And then once I can figure it out in my head, and the timing and the motion, and maybe even angles, the right kind of drawing angles, then when I sit down at my desk, it's like, okay, now I can get to it, find out if it works or not immediately, and but at least I have a starting point, a visual and a mental starting point.
Well, that's amazing. What were reviews like? Like, would you kind of stand behind the moviola with the director, or what were your reviews like?
Well, it varied, some were quite insulting, but our job is to please the director. That's, I think, I never had hurt feelings because it was straight business, and if I didn't hit the mark, and when I hit it, it's like, oh, it was great, you just, pat yourself on the back and just go into cleanup. But there are times when, there was one time I was working on this little bit of animation. It was only like 3 seconds, but I had to do it over and over a long time. I must have done about 20 different versions of this, and I still couldn't get it right. And you just want to just say, give it to somebody else. Just please give it to. I don't get it, but he wouldn't let me. He just pushed. So
were you in a room by yourself with like the radio on, or how did you work?
Yeah, no, each place was different. Yeah, no, it was usually like it was like an office building, and so you were in the animation room with 2 other people. So I was with my friend Pam, and Gary Mooney was another great animator, at Kurtz and Friends. So we would just be in a room, 3 desks, all sitting there, drinking coffee, making jokes, making little cartoons, make each other laugh.
Awesome.
And Duck Soup, it was different. Each place was different. So there are times you had a little cubicle, and sometimes you're always just wandering around. One thing with animation, for us back then, when you had a little bit more time on your hands, is you get up and you talk to other people just to walk around. You're not as overly focused on a screen like everybody is today.
Right.
There was some socializing. People can break and talk, and it was a really nice life working style. And there are times it's like, hey, I gotta get back to this. And it's like, oh, okay, you go. Working at home is tough though, because
What were the hours like?
for me, it was really.
Can I answer on behalf of what Dad has said in the past?
Okay.
He said Mom was always the fastest animator, and she would just get her work done and be able to leave at 3 to pick up the kids and take us home and start her second job of the day.
Wow.
Being Mom. And Dad just said it's because she was so fast and would just get the work done that she could just leave earlier than everyone else.
You could leave at 3 and they didn't mind?
He says, as long as you get your work done. So I would. And sometimes I would have to take it home, but rarely when I was working for Bob. I was able to get, well, basically it was like you had a deadline. You had to have the deadline, let's say Friday. So, you just work until you get, and, sometimes you get done early. And then you get another scene and that'll be done for the next week. But yeah, it worked out pretty well. I mean, there were times I was doing some Monty Python, what do you call it? Puppet animation or whatever. And this was our first all woman. Me and Pam went into the camera service and we actually worked under the camera, moving little pieces of paper underneath. And
cool. It's
like South Park.
It's like stop motion.
Stop motion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stop motion. And that was, well, going back to that, just talking about the kids, I was telling Ray that we were out in Burbank and I had my one child, Eric, in preschool and I had to pick him up by 5:30 and we still had to finish and it was like 4:30. Okay. I think I could do it. I think we could do it. And then it's like, oh, we made a mistake. We got to go backwards. So I was on the freeway in the rain, just looking, and there's no phones. You can't call them to say, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. And so, yeah, there are just lots of things about working back then, kind of hard.
Yeah.
So this was all the kind of commercial jobs and like the smaller spots, but you did work on one feature, Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah.
What was that office and like, the people makeup?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a chance to work on this movie called Twice Upon a Time. It was directed by John Cordy, and it ended up being like a cult film, but it was all cutout animation, collage animation. He had a name for it. It was called Lumage, and it was underlit. And I don't know if you know what Pellon is, but Pellon is like a fabric that you use for interfacing and sewing. So, and so they used to dye those and cut little pieces out. And so that place was very interesting. We're making a feature movie and I go to the place and it's this big old house, like a craftsman house. And it was in Mill Valley. And first floor was the offices. Second floor was where they had the cameras and a big bullpen working area. And then you walk up where I got to be was where they used to call heaven. And it was in the attic, and that's where the designers were and a couple of the animators. So I got to be a directing animator there, which was really great. And people, I mean, it was just such a great time. It was like a bunch of, like college. We couldn't believe that a bunch of 20-year-olds can make a movie, you know.
But also, before, can you tell them who your animation assistant was on that movie?
The runner was David Fincher.
Oh
my
God,
God.
that's so crazy.
That's
I
hilarious.
know, he was so cute. He was and he was.
He looks so Midwestern to me.
He was from he was just the cutest thing. He was 19, I think, when he started, and he grew up in Oregon. And so he had people he was staying with, and I don't think he went to college. I wasn't quite sure what the thing is, but he started off as a runner, and then he had thought about this water tank for a smoke effect for the film. And he was just so smart and so helpful. And so we would.
Did you know?
Pardon me?
Did you know he was gonna do great things? You didn't. You're like, oh, he's just cute.
Yeah. Well, no, he was so ambitious, and he had a friend, Craig Barron, who I think was working at Lucasfilm, who has his own. Who also is visual effects. What do you call those painters? The background matte painters. Yeah. So I mean, I just remember when he came and told me, he goes, "Oh, Craig and I bought a camera. You know, we're going to make some films." I went, "Oh, that's great!" You know. So a lot of people came in and out of that film. Henry Selick, I think he did.
Holy
Coraline.
I'm a huge fan of Henry Selick.
Yeah, so he came as I was leaving, so I got to work with him just a little bit, but a lot of great people on that film.
I'm watching the trailer right now, and it is amazing. I mean,
So
it looks kind of like Yellow Submarine.
she's watching the trailer of Twice Upon a Time.
I
on
like the style's awesome.
It's amazing.
It was really great. Yeah, it was. I didn't stay till the end because I was just drifting from my boyfriend Rob, my husband. So I decided, now I've got to come home. So I didn't see it to the end.
Is it like a fractured fairy tale, or what is it about?
Yeah, it was. It was about, there's a little character, a little animal character and his buddy, and they're trying to save the world from nightmares. So yeah. And there's all these different characters. My character that I got to start off with was Flora Fauna, the little flower girl. And
were you the only female animator on that one?
I think at the time, yeah.
A lot of men.
I never even thought about one way or another. I was just happy to be working there. I never thought about, actually, the gender. There was one time when I finished my Elton John, I did an Elton John film at UCLA.
Oh my gosh.
And somebody, KCET, somebody in LA got caught wind, must have gone to like the UCLA Film Festival and thought, oh, Asian woman. Oh, or Asian student, making a film. So I got to go on their TV show. And
I never heard about this.
I never told you this. So it was a little interview with me. And so they put makeup on me, and I forget who the guy was. And
I wish we could find it. Do you have?
Yes.
I don't know, but it was, so he was asking me these questions. I didn't know how to answer. How does it feel like being a woman in this film business? And I went,
You're like, that's a terrible question. Like,
I don't know. I really don't know. And so then they played my film. And then, so I figure, I'll just, they're playing that on the TV. So I'm sitting there just, rocking to the music, because it was this Elton John, I Want to Be a Teenage Idol, which was not one of these big hits or anything. So I'm sitting there rocking to the music. And then later I find out that they put a little vignette on me rocking to the music. oh no!
That's so great.
Oh,
I need to find this.
yeah.
Did you show it to Rob?
No, because I didn't know him then. This was
this was
in
before.
'82, yeah. So but my family we all huddled around the little teeny tiny TV and watched it.
That's amazing.
So
yeah.
have you seen Rocket Man?
Yes, I liked it a lot. I didn't think I would, because I used to be one of the Elton John fan club presidents. Yeah.
What?
Because I didn't know where this was going to come up.
I know, I heard that.
This is amazing.
Didn't you make a doll or something like
There's a photo of it. She has one right there.
Oh, it's right there.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you could. There it is. There's a little doll on his shoulder, and this was in People magazine.
Wow.
But
She also made the stuffed animal behind her.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my
I
God,
am
that's
working on my
amazing.
son's show, russandshelley.com. Check it out. But that's it's
Promotion.
Yeah. It's
Plugs.
yeah, Tom and I are working. It's called Tom and Mom Productions, but we've been working on it for 5 years. But we've made a couple of films, and he's directed it, and I'm the wrist. But it was a lot of fun.
But Elton John.
Oh yeah. It was an Elton John film. Yeah. So I got a lot of material. My teacher said, hey, why don't you go and ask Elton John? Maybe they can give you some information about him. I went, oh, that's a good idea. So I called, I wrote some letters, and I talked to the secretary over at ICM at the time. And she says, oh yeah, we're just starting off this place called Rocket Records. Why don't you come on over? And I went, oh, okay. So I go over there, and they give me all this information. So I got to go to his designers to see the clothes he was having done. I went to his optic boutique, which was the glasses. And through all this, I got to meet him, and that one thing led to another.
What year was this? What year was this?
74, maybe 74, something around there.
The scrapbook.
What was his?
Yeah.
What was his biggest? What was his big hit at that point?
It was Caribou. Let's see. Daniel is Traveling Tonight. I think that was on there. But between Honky Chateau and Yellow Brick Road.
Okay.
So of course I have no boyfriend, so I can do whatever I want, So I got to, I started just kind of not hanging out there, but getting information, feeding them different things, giving them, I wanted to meet him so badly. So I made a little clay sculpture of him, and I made this for Elton, oh, that's great, Peggy, and they would, they'd send it to him, and they, oh, he really liked it. And then
that's so cool.
It was really great, and I got to design stage passes for the Dodger Stadium show.
Oh
and
my gosh.
the film I actually finished, they actually used it at the Forum and a couple of other movies, which was really, other concerts, which was really a blast, and I got to go and be the shy Japanese girl, not the ambitious, person trying to get to the star. So I became more of an office groupie. And because of that, I got to help run the Elton John fan club and did a lot of artwork for that.
That's so cool.
That is so cool.
It's, when that's the only thing you can do is art or draw, and it's not even fine art, it's just all cartoons. You use it. I mean, I got to meet, I got to work for, I don't know if you ever saw Harold and Maude, that movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
And Norn just saw it.
I just saw
yeah. I love Bud
I love
Cort.
that movie.
And so I drew, when I was working at Rocket Records, they knew he went to a party. I went, oh, you know him? I drew a little card and sent it to him.
Harold,
then,
you mean?
Yeah, Harold, yeah. And so he called and thanked me. And I got to end up working for him as his little side girl, go to little meetings with him. And
Oh my gosh.
What's his name? Bud something?
Bud Court.
Bud Court.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet he was really was he really handsome? Like, did you have a crush?
I was going out with Rob, and even Rob would follow me with him. But Rob knew he was gay. I didn't, but I didn't
he's
care.
gay.
Yeah, at that time. And
Just
so
like Elton.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
has a type.
She has a type.
Worried about my dad.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I want to be Maud when I grow up.
Yeah.
You just want a hot young side piece. That's what you want.
Yeah, that's what
That's true. And I want to live in a awesome bus.
Oh yeah, she was so great. I even made a doll of her for Bud to give to her.
Oh my
gosh. So I just do things to meet people. That's all it is.
Do you still do that
smart.
kind of stuff? Do you find yourself? Well, I mean, you made that doll. You're working on that doll behind you, but
Oh, Shelly, yeah, I did that for Tom. Yeah, as you get older, you finally realize, oh, these are just people. And you find out, oh, they aren't, I mean, they're not the gods you think. I finally learned people are people, and, and they're really talented. But yeah, maybe, you never know if somebody,
You make stuff for our family now.
You're-
for all of her
You're
grandkids.
giving me ideas, Peggy, because I think I'm gonna make a Tom York doll and send it to him.
yeah, really, you should. I mean, that's the only way. And then what you do is you end up having other people say, hey, can you make I did this for one of Rob's friends. Can you make a caricature of Gordon Ramsay? I want to give this to him. I went, yeah, sure. So I'll do that. But it's fun, I mean, and that's the thing about being artistic and finding a venue you can still have fun, even with all the animation. Because after a while, drawing is just not, it's not what it was like when you're in college and in junior high school or whatever.
Do you still draw? Well, you still animate.
Yeah, but I don't draw like I used to. I mean, Rob used to force me every winter to do Christmas cards. And that was really the only time I would draw, and it wasn't for fun. But it was appreciated by everybody else who got it. But I just, you should share those with them. You don't have to share it. Yeah, share it with your friends.
And I'll send them some of the doodles you've done of all these funny her little doodles. Those are little just scrap paper doodles. That's still what we do.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
most important for any ladies in production is have a good sense of humor. Have humility, accept criticism, and it's just a job, because you have the people around you at home or, in your life that really, that's the stuff that fills it up, so.
I feel like completely agree. Like what you were saying earlier too, when you had reviews and you didn't take the criticisms to heart. You kind of just said, oh, I just want to make it better. And you didn't feel like it was a critique on you almost. Like I feel
I never felt it was a critique. The only times when it gets frustrating and when I want to cry is like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Give it to somebody else. Those were the only times that I would cry. It's just because I just couldn't get it out of me. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. So.
Do you watch movies now and just get inspired by animation movies or no?
No.
Shaking your head.
I don't go to, first of all, I don't go to movies.
Anything.
Yeah, I don't go to movies. It's just, I don't know.
How do you get inspired? What inspires you?
What really inspires me is, right now, is being with little kids and seeing what they're excited about, and trying to make a little project for them, that kind of a thing. That inspires me. Sometimes, I go through my little Instagrams, and all I have are dogs, cats, raccoons, and some different artists. And it's like, wow, that's kind of neat. I like to do that, but I have enough little things. Tom inspires me because he, Ray inspires me with the different things that she's doing, the people around me. It's I've come to a good place in my life. That's one thing about being 68. You get to a good place in your life and you appreciate a lot. And that's what's good. And when you're 68, by the time you reach 50, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. And even work stuff, it's like, okay, I'm working on a little side project, and they're asking for, I'm thinking, oh, got this off and away. I've done their first changes, they saw it, they loved it, and I get it back, and, well, can you do a few more changes? It's like, oh, okay, but it's not a reflection on me. It's just they want something a little different, and they haven't seen it. So that's all.
Have you been inspired to make any more folk tales or any more shorts?
What I wanted to do is, there's a time when I started going back to Sunday school, or they would have church. It was the Buddhist church. And then I found out, so then I get, look everything up Buddhist, cartoons, what do they have there? So I really got into these Jataka tales. It's Indian tales. They're animals, almost like Aesop's tales. I would love to do some animation for that, little inspirational, cartoony things that kids and adults can get something out of, lift a little weight off your life by laughing a little, and maybe learn a little, that's kind of wise,
That would be so amazing if you did that.
Yeah.
I've been holding on to a photocopy of that book that we got at the library.
I have it right here next to me. I happen to have found this I photocopied each one of them, before scanning was around, each page, and it's they're good little tales, and
I'll help you.
Yeah, if somebody could write it,
I'll help you.
Yeah, you should write it, Ray.
Yeah.
You should design it, Norn.
I'll do whatever you want.
Hey, you guys design it and I'll animate it. That's the thing is I just don't want to do. Yeah.
Seriously?
Here's our production company.
Oh my God.
I would totally do it. I mean, I think everybody should be on it.
Krystal, you too.
Yeah, everybody. No, with everybody. Yeah, I'll animate it. If anybody else wants to design it, I'll animate it.
And it's animals, Krystal. You love animals.
I mean, just that photocopy, the black and white liner. I just love that style.
Yeah. So maybe I'll somehow I'll scan it and we'll send it, and maybe somebody, that was the story, my Japanese folktale. That was the first Japanese folktale, that Urashima Taro, about a fisherman and a tortoise. And when I was a kid, my mom had gotten this big book of tales around the world, and it's like, Japanese, that's me. So I read it, and it's like, oh, okay. But I guess when I was in college, I thought, well, that must have stuck with me, because I always remember that story. I always looked, and so and it had kind of a good ending, It's
and you turned that into your master's film,
right? And made me go to Japan to check it out. And UCLA has the best. I really got into researching. That's how I learned so much about all these different actors Andrew Scott. Oh my gosh, I know so much about him. Just digging away to find out information about things that I love. I'm just mine just going.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear your story as this artist who, like, sometimes being inspired by something your mom gave you when you were a kid, and also by like handsome men that maybe you had crushes on, like
oh yeah.
It's all amazing fodder for your art.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thanks for coming on our show. I guess I was going to try to wrap it up. I mean, I'd like to talk to you forever.
Oh, no.
But-
Yeah.
I know. I'm like this. I'm like,
I know this is
tell
so
me everything,
fascinating.
please.
We're hoping that you will want to, create a production company with us. So
I will. Yeah. It's so great to talk to, smart and I don't have the words. My hands are doing these funny things. Inspirational women. How's that? Okay.
but you're so it's great. You're so
thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
you're so unassuming about, your artistic talent and that you were able to raise 3 lovely children.
I know they did turn out good, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And the last one's the best, right, Ray?
Yes. We all agree with that. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. And don't forget, russandshelley.com.
Check it out.
For more information, follow us on Instagram at Ladies in Prod Podcast, or you can email us at ladiesandprodpodcast@gmail.com.